Hi, everybody, and welcome to Circuit of the Americas. And I'll tell you, there is an energy here that is absolutely palpable. What has unfolded in the offseason with the Pirreli World Challenge Championship, the anticipation of this 26th consecutive season is just off the charts. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Greg Creamer. Jeff Lepper, I'll tell you, what's been unfolding in the offseason is just mesmerizing. One of the big stories simply is, again, exponential growth.
Yeah, 116 entries here for the opening round, spread amongst 7 classes now with the addition of the GT Cup presented by Momo, those Porsche 911 supercars, the 991. It's going to be a sight to see with 7 classes competing here this weekend.
And there's huge news in every one of the categories. In the GT category, of course, GT is here. You mentioned the addition of the GT Cup class, the all Porsche class presented by Momo. But how about GTA blowing up to being the biggest of the 3 in terms of outright entries?
Absolutely. The GTA category, those guys coming in here and getting it done in the GT class. Well, we'll see some of those GTA drivers, I'm pretty sure, be GT drivers before the season's out.
Yeah, you podium, you're out, and that's how that works. Then, of course, we have to look at GTS. No longer part of the same race as GT. They get their absolute own race. They run by themselves in every session on the weekend, and they get their own TV shows as well. Huge development for them and well earned.
Yeah, very well earned. One of the most exciting format of racing we have is our GTS category. You get the old pony car wars, exotics with the Porsche Cayman and the Euros, but it's going to see how that plays out. Their own standalone broadcast, hour-long race. We'll have an overall GTS winner. We've never had that yet.
And, of course, in the touring car divisions, folks, we still have TCB, which is as popular as ever. We brought in that TCA category, bringing the TCB regs to the touring car category. It was good. We saw a drop in touring cars. That's changed because there's been a rule change, and everybody just seems to be glomming onto it.
Yeah, it sure is. They allowed 300 base horsepower as a stock car, so that lets in the Ford Mustang V6. We'll see the Porsche Caymans coming out in touring car, and now we're going to add some aero, a front splitter, a big rear wing from Crawford. It's going to be amazing to see what touring car transpires and how it ends up.
Well, absolutely. And, of course, TCA. Now, when you have a team like Compass 360 saying, we're going to run TCA, that means it's arrived. So there's some wonderful things that are about to unfold in this championship. And when we come back here to Circuit of the Americas, we're going to bring you some news on a couple of phenomenal partners. Stay with us. Today's coverage of the Pirreli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites, by Motul, official lubricants of the Pirreli World Challenge, and by the Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan.
Now's the time, no delay. Gotta get going now, there's no more time to waste. More speed, little less haste. 100 miles of running, never touch the brakes. See that counting, we can't let them wait. Never late, cause it's time. Gonna move quick, gotta move faster. Wanna speed up, gonna move faster. Time is time, it has no master.
On society really came about not because I was selfish and wanted one for myself, which I did. It's because I had a passion my whole life. I wanted to teach myself to build computers. I wanted to build these things for free. I just wanted to do it for the world. And, you know, when you want something, that's what you do the best.
And welcome back to Circuit of the Americas as we get ever closer to the start of this season, at least in terms of racing, Jeff. And you know what? We've been so fortunate over the past number of years. A little while ago, a company named Pirreli stepped in, not only to provide tires, but as the official sponsor of this championship. And I think a lot of this growth, we've talked about the influx of GT3 cars and all that, but I think Pirreli coming on board has played a huge role in that too, don't you?
It sure has. And you talk to these drivers through the pits, that P0 tire, this is a tire those guys can race on. They like that. That's what brings people over. That's why they seeing these teams come in.
Absolutely. And, of course, Rafael Navarro is a major player within the Pirreli ranks, and he has become a great friend as well as the company being a great partner of the sport. So we thought it might be nice if we spent a little time with Rafael and found out more about this remarkable partnership.
We're looking forward to this season starting with great anticipation. It's been an interesting off-season, a lot of developments. So to get to the track and see the sun shining, full paddock, we've got over 115 cars here getting ready to compete in Pirreli World Challenge. It doesn't get better. And you know, the interesting thing about these 115 cars, you know, there's over 20 automotive manufacturers represented here that are going to take the grid. Where else in the world can you get that, right? You can get it here. And you know what? The other interesting thing for us as a tire manufacturer is that we're servicing all these marques at the OE level. So it's a great weekend and a great result. Well, the hopes now, you know, as we evolve and we've got 4 years under our belt with World Challenge, it's to continue building the platform. This is unique this weekend in that it's a standalone event for us. It's something that early on when Scott Beauvais and I sat down to talk about what we could do together, that was one of the dreams that we had, was eventually, you know, we'll have a standalone event where we're the headliner with the series and we're supported by other Pirreli supported series. And that's, you know, that's what we've have manifested here today. It's so exciting for us.
Well, I'll tell you, Jeff, this series has been so fortunate to have that connection made with Pirreli, and now it's become, it isn't a sponsorship, it's truly a partnership, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, and it's the built and the growth that we've seen, and it speaks for itself with 116 entries here.
Oh, exactly, and so many of the teams and drivers have told us a couple of times, we're here in large part because these tires, you can race, and that's been absolutely spectacular, so we're lucky for that. Speaking of racing, every one of the classes here, whether it's a touring car division, whether it's GTS, whether it's GT, has to tame this beast. I mean, look at this. From here, 130-foot plus elevation up into turn one, and that just begins an insane lap around here. So for our Porsche track preview, let's visit with one of the best, have him tell us a little bit about this track, Effort Racing's legendary talent, Ryan Dial.
This is Ryan Dial, driver of the number 31 Effort Racing Porsche GT3R, and this is the Porsche track preview at Circuit of the Americas. Start-finish line coming up with a big tower. Going into turn one. This is the second fastest straight on the track. We're going to get the Porsche up to the 100 brake marker. Fifth gear down to second. Really bumpy, big crest here. So careful not to lose the car on entry. A little bit curb on the inside, power hard in second gear. Turn two is just about flat in the GT3R. You gotta get really good exit. This is a long straightaway into the S's. Turn three, fifth gear, down to fourth. Now we're gonna go through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all constantly slowing down. Everyone gets a little bit slower. Careful to get on the inside curb here. A lot of grip on the curbs at Circuit of America. Third gear, we're gonna be hard on the power. Doesn't look like it, but we're going pretty hard uphill here. Important to stay on this curve, lots of grip through turn 9, full power through turn 9. We're going to through head through turn 8, which is the kink, flat, easy flat. We're going to go down into 11, A and B, hard on the brake at the 150 marker, down to second gear. Really important, longest straight on the track coming up. Hard on the power, second gear. Really important for lap time. This is the only time we're going to see sixth gear here at Circuit of the Americas. Porsche GT3R, great top speed, one of our best opportunities to pass. Is going to be down in here. Hard brake zone. Hardest brake zone we have. Really late on the brakes. The 100 marker, as you can see, easy to pass into here. Second gear, downhill. A lot of curb on the inside. You got to be careful with the curbs on the inside here. You can't use any more than the red or white. The big orange curbs we cannot touch. Second gear all the way through here. Very tricky power down. Up to third. Back down to second. Now we're going to go through the triple right. Pretty famous corner here at COTA. Really tough to get right. You can see when traffic's in front of you, it's all about navigating through the slower cars. Hard on the power. We're going to be fourth gear up to fifth gear through here. 2 corners to go. Downshift to third. Really tough corner. If you go 4 wheels off on the exit, it is a penalty, so we have to stay on track. Last corner, second gear. A little bit of curb, concentrate on your exit. Now you get the long drag up the hill into turn one. Another great place to pass.
Well, I'll tell you, there's few better to give us a look around this track, and certainly none more entertaining than Ryan Dial. He is not only a great driver, but a great character. Speaking of great characters, I want to welcome Jeremy Shaw here. And, of course, as we get going into the activities today, I have to head to the TV booth for the GT races, so you're going to be calling those with Jeff here on this on the web stream. And you did some of the races with us last year as well. You're going to be involved even more this year, Jeremy. And first of all, just kind of curious, after what's evolved in the offseason, what are you kind of keeping your eyes on?
Well, I'm really excited to be here, first of all, and I think that the racing this year, last year was good, this year is going to be even better. 22 manufacturers amongst the 7 classes, that is absolutely incredible, and 13 of them just in GT alone. So, you know, the manufacturer battles here, that's what I'm going to be keeping my eyes on, as well as a stellar crew of drivers.
Well, and I was going to get to that. Obviously, you keep your eyes pretty well tuned to global, things global when it comes to motorsports with all of your interests. And the past 25 years when we've talked about the world in Pirelli World Challenge, oftentimes we've alluded to the variety of manufacturers from around the globe. But you look at the entry this year, you've just, kind of talked about it. We have drivers and teams from the top echelons of international GT racing that have decided to make this now a destination. I think that speaks volumes.
I completely agree with you. I mean, maybe we should be called the Pirelli Global Challenge in pretty soon, because the depth of talent in all of the classes is absolutely tremendous. And drivers, this is a destination now for drivers, and not just any old drivers, for world-class drivers and manufacturers. So I think that just speaks volumes for the whole concept and how it's working.
And obviously a shift for some of the North American teams. I mean, when a team like Flying Lizard Motorsports, with all of their credentials, decides they want to come over here, do a partnership with Capex Racing and race here, this clearly is a series that finds itself on the upswing even more than it has was last year or in the past.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the whole thing is on the upswing, and what a great place to start the whole series this year than Circuit of the Americas right here. I mean, it's a great racetrack. I mean, a really absolutely superb racetrack. It's got everything, this place, and it's the right place for this sort of series to start.
Well, it's been a challenge, obviously, in the offseason, managing this huge growth. We might as well have a heck of a challenge for the drivers here with a track like Circuit of the Americas. The first thing that you're going to see today, obviously, is the opening race of 3 for the touring car divisions, Touring Car A, and Touring Car B. And, Jeff, at this point, obviously, we need to take a look at who are we going to be keeping our eyes on in terms of the drivers and teams in those classes?
I'm actually looking more of a what. We're going to have a rolling start for the touring cars class, and then turn number 1 way up on the hill, and then a standing start for the GT cars. We talk about the new faces, the new entries, the new teams. A lot of them haven't done standing starts before. We can see how that plays out in the GT category. But I think GT, we'll see Olivier Beretta and our Ferrari Motorsports Ferrari. Talk about a factory driver losing money. Carlo comes over here to Pirelli World Challenge at Circuit of the Americas in Texas, so going to see him be strong. GTS, look for those Black Dog Camaros. I think Michael Cooper coming into the series now, taking Lawson Auchenbach's place in that 2-time championship car, he'll be fine. Touring car, I think it's going to be a Cayman. I don't know which one, but we're looking for Caymans.
Well, I think he brings up a very good point, Jeremy, is that one in GTS, doesn't matter, we're going to have a new champion because Lawson is not going to be able to run full season, if at all, this year. So that's big. And, in the GT categories, Cadillac and Johnny O'Connell have kind of ruled things. Well, now we haven't even talked about that. It's no longer a CTSV. It's an ATS VR V6 turbo with full GT3 spec. So they're starting off from, in a way, square one.
Yeah, they are indeed, and quite a few teams are up and down the paddock. And going back then to GTS just briefly, the Black Dog Chevrolets that Jeff was just talking about. I mean, they are now much more production based than they've been in the past with this new Z28 kit that they put onto the cars, and there's a lot of standard equipment on those cars, which I think it's a really good step forward for the series. But yeah, that new Cadillac, that's certainly not a road going car. It is absolutely beautiful. It sounds great, and I think they've got a pretty steep development curve ahead of them, and they're very early on that development curve, but that car is going to be one to watch and to listen to.
And do keep in mind, that means there's only one GT, what we're calling legacy rules, the original Pirelli World Challenge GT category rule book built. That's that Acura, Jeff, and they're early in their development. That all-wheel drive, I love how you put it. Use it. There's less technical stuff on the shuttle than in that car sometimes.
Yeah, it sure is. Ryan Eversley and Peter Cunningham, 7-time Pirelli World Challenge champion, leading that effort with real-time Acura Motorsports and HPD.
Well, we've posed a lot of questions. You know what? It's time for us to start getting some answers. So, Jeff, you and I are going to head to the booth and do the touring car division call. Jeremy, we'll be bringing you in, obviously, for the GT and GTS races a little bit later on. It is showtime here at Circuit of the Americas. Buckle in, folks. I think this one's going to be something else. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites, by Motul, official lubricants of the Pirelli World Challenge, and by the Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan.
Credit belongs to the man who strives valiantly, who errs, who spends himself in a worthy cause, and who, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly.
Really came about not because I was selfish and wanted one for myself, which I did. It's because I had a passion my whole life. I wanted to teach myself to build computers. I wanted to build these things for free. I just wanted to do it for the world. And, when you want something, that's what you do the best.
Welcome, everybody, to a cloudy, cool, but exciting Circuit of the Americas as we are set to go with the opening round of the 2015 Pirreli World Challenge Championships Touring Car Divisions race. I'm Greg Kramer, joined by Jeff Lepper. And, Jeff, I think we're in for something very special here. This is the Nissan Grand Prix of Texas presented by Motul, and huge field and a rejuvenation, in particular, in the touring car category. How exciting.
Yeah, it sure is. 46 cars spread amongst 3 classes in the TC classes. We've seen tremendous growth among TC, TCA. TCB has been one of the most popular classes in Pirreli World Challenge and the most exciting racing, and that's coming up next.
Absolutely. Over 40 cars combined. I mean, it is some substantial groupings. And we talked about touring car, last year when we were the introduction of the touring car A category. Touring car took a little bit of a dip. It's exploded again. I mean, basically 17, 18 entries in this category for this weekend. And 3 races are going to unfold as well. So there's a lot to be looking at here.
Yeah, the Pirreli World Challenge officials and SCCA Pro Racing got together. They changed the rule set for the touring car category. Cars are a little bit higher horsepower. That brings in the V6 Ford Mustangs. We'll see a few of those this weekend. The Porsche Cayman is now eligible. There's a ton of those, as well as adding some aero, front splitters, rear wings to these cars. It's going to make some exciting racing.
It already has, hasn't it? I mean, the qualifying's been spectacular. And I think that's a good point, talking about giving them a little bit more power, giving them that aero, welcoming in some new cars, and bringing the existing cars up to that. And it's clearly a popular decision.
Yeah, it really is. And we've seen a lot of guys such Ernie Francis Jr., the youngster. He started off in TCB. He went to that TCA category. Now they've updated that car once again, and he's running in the TC category. One of 2 drivers to do all 3 touring car classes, with Shea Holbrook bringing the other one. Watch for those 2 cars to go really fast here this weekend.
Absolutely. Then, as we talked about, the 3 divisions all running together. Now, with that 3-race format, basically this race is going to establish the starting lineup, fast lap, for the second race that'll unfold. Really what we're looking at here, because of that busy format and the size of the field, first race will be a rolling start, correct?
Correct, yeah. First race will be a rolling start. The grid for the race number 2, which we'll see a little bit later, that's going to be set by your fastest race lap in race number 1, and that'll be the traditional, exciting, standing start for Pirreli World Challenge.
Oh, without a doubt. It's going to be spectacular. And I think a great story has unfolded here in terms of the overall pole position. It's the Porsche Cayman run by Autometrics, the Mac Papers Hastings Fiberglass entry, the 04 of Cody Ellsworth. 3 days ago, he didn't even know he was going to be racing here. Autometrics, who he races for in a couple different series, said, look, we're going to field a car. You want to come in? Puts it on pole.
Yeah, does a great job there. No slouch behind the wheel, does a lot of track day stuff. And he actually coaches for that Autometrics team. So packing a bag on Thursday when they're out here testing, and he puts that car on pole.
And you know what? He's a great guy. It's a great team, and they're working with a really neat, I think, a fantastic program in terms of a charity. It's called Prisms. Parents and researchers interested in Smith-Magenis syndrome. Absolutely fantastic. So thanks to them. There is a young man named Nate Stacy who doesn't look like a young man, doesn't drive like a young man, and he's all of 15 now. Big change for him, stepping up into touring, Jeff, but with a very well-proven car.
Yeah, he actually needs to change the number on his car. It's no longer 14. He's 15 years old, but he started back there in that 7th position and wants to see if he can really move up. But that's the K-Pax Racing Volvo C30s that we saw Rob Holland and Aaron Pavolito campaign 3 years ago, and young Robert Thorne, which we'll see in our GT categories, won in that car at Sonoma Raceway. So a proven platform. He's got Aaron Caldwell engineering that car, who built and developed that car for 3R Racing. Can't go wrong there.
No, not at all. Put it squarely into the top 10 as well in the qualifying run. You talked about Ernie Francis and what he did. He is the winningest driver in Pirreli World Challenge here at Circuit of the Americas. Swept everything 2 years ago in the TCB category. Clearly hasn't lost his pace. That time for learning Mazda MX-5 he's moved up to now, outside front row.
Yeah, outside front row for him. He led most of the practice sessions and just got eclipsed at the very last minute, really, of that touring car qualifying by Cody Ellsworth. He'll be faster. I think if he can get a good start and hold off that Porsche Cayman down the straightaway, Ernie Francis Jr. could be a long outside shot here to win.
And on the third spot in touring car, Corey Fergus, listed as a rookie, the U.S. lead axis roofing Porsche Cayman from Motion Promotions. But if you follow SCCA club racing, the name Fergus certainly ought to ring a bell. His dad is one of the winningest drivers ever, certainly in the Sports 2000 category, but Corey proving to be very, very quick. He's raced in some other series, has had poles and the like, but popped it up to the top early in that qualifying session, ended up slotting into third. Exciting to have people like him coming over.
Oh, sure is, and even his dad, too, with John Fergus, the stuff that he does for SCCA and amateur racing across with all the programs he's got in the Mid-Ohio Valley region there. He does a lot of great things. Great to have Corey part of the series.
So much for us to talk about it. We haven't even addressed the return of a former touring car champion to the category. Jeff Altenberg teamed with Alex Welch in the HPA VWs as the field rolls off.
Yeah, 2 brand new cars, a new program there from HPA with Marcel. Got a chance to go up there and talk to those teams. Cars are a little bit off the pace, but they're looking for some great things here this season in Pirreli World Challenge.
Andrew Aquilani also coming over. And there is a beautiful new pace car that is set up for this season of competition, thanks to the folks at Honda.
Yeah, that's the HPD version of the CRZ, and that's a very special little CRZ. It's got the options you can buy from the dealerships with a warranty, supercharge, a brake kit, suspension kit, wheels. It's got seats in there. You can buy all of that from your local Honda dealer, HPD kit with that CRZ, and still have the factory warranty. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you got to love that. By the way, a late add to the touring car class, and what a good one it is. Unfortunately, it's because his GTS car is having some issues, but Vesko Kozarov in that Skull Candy Nissan Altima is going to be joining the program that he's sharing here this weekend with another awfully good driver we'll talk about in a minute, but nice to have him. He'll be starting at the back of that touring car pack. I don't think he's going to stay there long.
I don't think so either. His teammate Jason Cherry, sort of the lead principal, moving from TCA and his MX-5 up to a Nissan Altima now in the TC category, doing a lot of work with the Autism Society. Ron Simmons from the state of Texas is here today to give our command to start the engines. Gave the command to start engines, which is pretty cool to see Ron Simmons doing that, all supporting Autism Society, a great charity.
Absolutely. Let's take a look quickly at TCA. Robbie Foley, the rookie on pole in the TechSport Mazda RX-8. Tony Rivera, former GT class winner, working on developing the Scion FRS Coupe for Eurotech. He got a good lap in there. He's outside the front row.
Yeah, they sure did. He did a great job. But Robbie Foley, had to go back to him. This is a brand new expansion of the team that Kevin Anderson built with TechSport. Made some Pirreli World Challenge races last year in the RX-8. Had an incident, unfortunately, wiped that car out. Built 2 new cars. He's racing one, gets pole in one, and supporting Johan Swartz and his Chevy Sonic, which we got to talk about TCB here really quick as they go down the backstretch. He's on the pole. So TechSport gets 2 pole positions, really kind of in their debut as a full-size 3-car team.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. By the way, the defending class champion in TCA qualified 4th, Jason Wolf, back in the Wolf Trucking Kia Forte Coupe. Another big story in TCA quickly, 3 ladies racing in TCA. It's fantastic. Very experienced Shea Holbrook, Emily Tomanovich, and that rookie Samantha Tan, who's showing some really good pace running in that Kia as well. All right. Touring car B, big field, Johan Swartz running the Chevy Sonic, the zero end of prostate cancer car, and it's a great program that they're really working to raise some stuff. Found out that he got his skills with those drifting and car control when he was a little kid, stealing his dad's car, going out in the frozen ponds in Denmark and hammering around. No surprise, he's up front. Glenn Nixon, boy, Racing.ca, they have a program here this year, don't they?
Yeah, they sure do. 3 cars with Wei Lu and Andre Kiesel running. Glenn Nixon, unfortunately, had a problem in qualifying. He got moved to the back of the field. That's going to put, I believe, Van Sevenson up to the 2nd place. A brand new car with that Chevy Sonic he purchased from the Swartz lots. His lights go out on the pace car.
Yeah, a sweep as a result of the front row by the Sonics. That's a great story as well. So we are looking to go green again. This is going to be a 40-minute flat-out sprint. Looking forward to it. And we have to make a mention, a very special program in the number 4, Tim Mency Sr. His daughter asked him once, Dad, will you ever be able to be a pro racer? This is his shot. They've put it together. He said, I don't know that we're going to do any more races, but this is Samantha's dream coming true. How cool is that? That's what this touring car division's touring car A, touring car B, that's the opportunities they provide. But now, Jeff, it is time to go racing, and we've got a big field hammering up into a very, very snug turn 1.
It sure is. 46 cars set to take the green flag, all led by that Honda CRZ pace car from HPD as they come down through turn number 19. Out of 18, they'll have turn 20 onto that long front stretch. There is a VP Racing fuel acceleration zone that they have to wait for until they get to those cones, and that will be Cody Ellsworth. It's his decision when he wants to go once he gets in that VP Racing fuel zone.
Absolutely, and remember, it's about 133-foot abrupt climb up into one, flattens at the apex, blind approach. We're ready to go with the 2015 season. Watch for that flag to fly. Beautiful look here. Of course, they're splitting the start just a little bit, giving the other classes a little bit of breathing room. Cody bringing them up beautifully. Francis alongside. We're racing for the first time in 2015. Big move to the inside by Nate Stacy.
Yeah, he's passing 2 cars there, trying to see if he can move all the way up into the podium position. He'll go with a battle for 4th into turn number 1.
Corey Fergus, nice move. Gets underneath Ernie Francis. Slots into the 2nd spot. Francis back. Then the 0-3. That's the team car from Autometrics. Corey Friedman getting a nice launch as well.
Saw a little glimpse of TCA back there. Looks like Robbie Foley was able to get the lead in TCA.
Absolutely. Keep an eye on it. There's a car that's going to appear much bigger than the others out there, primarily because it's the Ford Mustang V6, running a bit heavier, obviously, but it also carries a little bit more tire and the like. It's going to be interesting to see how this all mixes up. But right now, it's 2 Porsches up front and the MX-5 tucked right into 3rd.
Yeah, Cody Fergus got a great start, was able to get around Ernie Francis Jr. in that US LED Axis Roofing Porsche Cayman. He's in 2nd right behind Cody Ellsworth, and you got to think the Porsche boys might play a little game here. Let's kind of draft down that backstretch, pull away from this MX-5, and then we can battle out a little bit later.
Huge corner. Most important one on the track. Of all the corners here, turn 11, it leads onto a huge long straight, Jeff, and this is where we're going to see who's got motor, who can draft, who's slippery. A lot of answers are going to be shown right now. Look at those 2 Porsches. That slippery Cayman, very effective.
Yeah, don't count out Andrew Alcalante. We just got to dream of him. We didn't talk about him a little bit earlier. He's sitting in, it looks like, the 5th place in that Phoenix Performance Preston Calvert Dynamic Ford Mustang, all the way to 5th. Ooh, down to the inside, the 0-3 Cayman.
Yeah, Corey Friedman trying to take a look, see if he can get around Francis and make it a Porsche 1-2-3. Ernie having none of that. That checked him up just a little bit. Talking about Friedman and Aquilani is paying attention. Oh, early problems for Nate Stacy. The car's moving. I don't know whether it was just a mechanical lost power or whether there was some damage of some sort. Unfortunate development right there, but he looks to be parked. And that's Adam Poland, the number 33 we just saw, trying to make a little move as we get a good look at our leader.
Yeah, just got a glimpse of Vesko Kozarov. Looked like he's up all the way up to 7th place now after starting last, going for that VP Racing Fuels Hard Charger Award, or maybe the Optima Battery Best Start Award by picking up the most positions on the first lap. But Vesko Kozarov up to 7th place in TC, ahead of his teammate who started back there in 9th.
Yeah, Vesco's not a real familiar name, but I'll tell you, he is wicked quick. Meanwhile, let's take a look at what's going on at TCA. There's a look at the number 49. That's Patrick Sagan. Great to have him back in it and having a really solid battle here with that Kia Forte Coupe down to the inside. Here comes one of the Compass 360 machines. Boy, did they get a great run. That is the 71, Paul Holton. He's going to pick 2 of them off there with a great thread the needle move.
Yeah, Paul Holton leading in a touring car A category right now. Jason Wolf right behind him in that Wolf Trucking Kia Forte Coupe. And Patrick Sagan, Brandon Peterson's car, down to the inside, turn number 1.
And realized he wasn't quite going to be able to get underneath the Kia, but was, and then a big bang right there. That was some contact. Is that Chris Wright? Yeah, it is in the number 34. There was a pretty good bump right there, Jeff. I'm surprised that if one of them doesn't show some pretty good damage.
And I do apologize. This is the battle for 6th place right now, being led by Jason Wolf. Actually, battle for 5th as Neil DePaz drops back to 9th.
Fierce, big loose moment right there by that number 36 of Jason Wolf, and it cost him big momentum. So lots of activity unfolding here. Now, taking a look back, very serpentine section of this track that we're watching these guys come humming into. And again, boy, I think he may have some damage.
Yeah, left rear tire is down on Jason Wolf's car. You saw the damage there to that quarter panel, that contact he had with Patrick Sagan. I believe he's got either a left rear suspension, but it looks like a flat tire to me.
Yeah, and that was a hard tap, so you knew something was going to have to let go. And as we take a look right there, Chris Wright, the Kinetic Kia Forte Coupe, working his way around. But again, as you said, they're back in the order just a little bit. Chasing right now up front, you can see the 71 of Holton as he just gets away, Jeff.
Yeah, he sure does. Looking back here at the tail half of our TC field, and Tony Rivera looks like he's got around Robbie Foley for the lead in our TCA category. 3rd place is Paul Holton. A little heavy on the ABS there in the rear of that Honda Civic SI.
Absolutely. Back up front, Cody Ellsworth hanging on here. with Fergus and then Francis. That is your top three in this category with teammate to the leader. This is going to get confusing, isn't it? You got Corey, you got Cody, you got Corey again, Corey Friedman in that fourth place car, just coming into screen there with the orange highlights on that Porsche Cayman. That's your top four. Then Aquilani, and then again Adam Poland. In Poland, great story from last year. Great to see him back in this, and he's got some serious skills. And smartly there, tucks in behind that V6.
Yeah, won 2 races last year at Road America and Miller Motorsports Park, so he's got some motor there. And there is that damage to the rear of Jason Wolf's car, tire down on the rim, trying to get it back to the pits. And unfortunately, when you bang wheels in the S's, you got a long way to get around this great facility here at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, good point. 3.4 miles, 20 corners you got to negotiate with that kind of a scenario. The issue is you want to get back as quick as you can, but you don't want to hurt it too much. So if you do get back, you got something to race with if he can get the tire on. And boy, he is just driving it as fast as he thinks he can, trying to salvage something here. That's frustrating for the, again, defending champ.
Yeah, right there at that white line. It's 35 miles an hour down this long front stretch and pit lane here. But Kinetic Motorsports, they'll be ready with the spare tire. They'll have the jack. They'll get that car going and get it back underway. As Shea Holbrook moving up through the field now in her Lucas Oil Bubba Burger Hendrick Honda Civic SI. She's right behind Patrick Sagan, was sort of the not really instigator, but had the contact with Jason Wolf. We'll have to look, see if there's going to be any repercussions from that. Getting a good shot now of Johan Swartz.
Yeah, boy, is he stretching that margin out. He's gone from the pole and has driven it away by a little bit of a chunk here at this stage. Good run. Jason Fichter has moved up into the second spot from the 6th place, Jeff, so he's had a great start to this one.
Yeah, he sure is. Glenn Nixon, though, looking on the outside, trying to see if he can get around, and I apologize, that's not Glenn Nixon, that's Andre Kiesel, number 57, Racing.ca, LaptopScreen.com, Mini Coopers. I keep saying that these, all 3 cars of Wei Lu, Glenn Nixon, and Andre Kiesel look identical, so it's going to be hard to kind of differentiate those 3 cars, but a good run for those 3 teammates.
Absolutely, and then right there, as you mentioned, Van Svensson, who's out of Hyde Park, New York, rookie in that Chevy Sonic, who had essentially moved up to 2nd, as you had pointed out in qualifying, now slipped back to 4th. See if he's actually further back now than that. He's dropping back now. That's going to put him in 6th, isn't it?
It sure is, and that's one of the Peter Swartzot Chevy Sonics that they built and developed, him and his son, Peter Swartzot Jr., all through the school. So it's great to see those cars still being campaigned, and we miss having the Swartzots out here. Wish you guys would come on back, but the cars are still getting it done. The first race for that car, when Van got it, he's like, I live in New York. It's frozen. What am I going to go do to drive my car? He went and did an ice race with it with a B-Spec car. Pretty cool.
And there's a look at Vesko Kozarov. Right now, Cody Ellsworth, fastest lap of the race at a 2:26, but Kozarov has already worked his way up into the top 10, and he may have even made up a couple more. That was the lap. Yeah, he now shows as 8th, Jeff. What a opening couple of laps by Kozarov.
Yeah, he sure is, and I believe he got around John Weisberg in that Porsche Boxster right behind him. So John Weisberg and his wife, Dina Weisberg, running with that Berg racing car. 2-car team coming over with Redcom supporting those 4 wheels off to the outside. Officials are not going to like that out of Weisberg.
Yeah, that's they've been very, very stout on the warnings about that. Right now, the 2 Nissan Skull Candy cars running line astern, aren't they? We've got Kozarov and Jason Cherry, those 2 cars, both from the same equip right now. And right now, they're just trying to hook up maybe and see if they can't move forward a little bit.
Yeah, and Kozarov's missing his rear wing. Unfortunately, I believe it's more that wing was never put on. They had that car in the trailer, did not plan on racing that car this weekend. And when Vesco had his problem with the 370Z in the GTS category blowing a motor up, he pulled this car out, and that was probably the best the crew could do to get that car ready.
So he's going to be real fast in a straight line and white-knuckled hanging on for dear life in the twisty bits.
And you can see that. He is wrestling that car down through the S's. You see that car sideways coming through there with his teammate Jason Cherry right behind him, nose to tail. See if they can get a good draft down the straightaway here and run those cars down that lead group of 6.
Absolutely. Back to our lead group overall. And here we go. This time, Corey Friedman. Let's see, has he got enough of a head of steam built up? Ernie Francis says, not enough, dude. I'm coming right across the brow. And Friedman realized that and shut the door. And then you've got just hanging in there once again, just a solid run by Adam Poland. And I think, obviously it's a sprint race. You don't want to wait too long, but you don't want to just burn the tires off the car. I think we just saw Wolf back out on track with that repaired left wheel, got a new one on there, but here is that battle, and it is almost blanket over these top 6, isn't it?
Well, I think that that pass that Friedman was trying to make on Ernie Francis Jr. with a 450-pound weight difference between the Mazda MX-5 and the Porsche Cayman running at 3,050 pounds compared to 2,600 pounds was the difference in the braking zone there.
Absolutely, and of course, we should explain to folks that might be relatively new to this that we're talking about there. It's basically what they call BOP, balance of performance. You've got more power, you run more weight. If you run a little bit lighter, obviously you can take, you may not have that power issue, but it doesn't just stop there, does it? It's also you need to have tire, you need to have this. There's a lot of things that go into that SCCA Pro Racing and WC Tech staff for the Pirreli World Challenge. Tough job.
It sure is. You see that big Mustang there. You kind of see him over all the other little small sports cars here with the MX-5 and the Caymans, and Andrew Alcalante doing a good job in that Phoenix Performance car. That Mustang has a 10.5-inch rear wide tire versus the 8-inch on the MX-5, but he's running at 3,400 pounds, so he's 800 pounds more weight than that Mazda MX-5 right behind him.
Fastest guy on the track is a Mazda MX-5. Adam Poland just turning a 2:26.58, and that gives him fast lap of the race thus far.
And he is hounding Aquilente now.
Oh, yeah. And you can't argue with the job they're doing when you get the top 6 cars this close. Pretty good balance. But there are a lot of unknowns. First race of the season, bringing in the Caymans, bringing in the Mustangs, the MX-5s, and we're early. The tale's going to be told the last 10 minutes of this race as to who's got tire left, who's looking strong at that point, I think, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's going to have to play out and see who's going to maintain their tires. Not only maintain their tires, you got to maintain your car. There's still 2 more races left to go in this weekend, so the last thing you want to do is have a problem such as Jason Wolf for this championship and wad up a car and not get it or get a DNF here in this race number 1.
Well, I was just watching. Tony Rivera has that car. That Scion is absolutely on the edge. He is dancing big time, as I think that's one of our HPA VW Jettas here. Great to have that team back. Of course, you remember them from a couple of years ago. They had a fair amount of success. And there is the former champion. Jeff Altenberg won back in touring cars a few years ago, certainly. But I'll tell you what, the man is back, and I don't think he's lost much, that's for sure.
No, he sure hasn't, and it's good to see him back behind the wheel, sitting in 12th. Brand new car. They really got stuck in the snow, missed most of the test day, weren't able to really run that much trying to get everything built on these cars. Last minute deal to come together for that HPA Motorsports team. A lot of development still left in that car. I expect a few races in, we'll see Jeff Altenberg up near the top of that TC field.
And speaking at the top, how about the top of the TCA field? There's that all-white Scion FRS, the 86 of Rivero. Right behind him, your pole sitter, Robbie Foley, in the Tech Sport Racing Mazda RX-8. Oop, and a bit of a moment, spin for the number 22 TCA machine. It's Kevin Anderson, the team Tech Sport RX-8. Gathered it up, is back on his way. Just lost a lot of time, but looks like he was able to get away with it without any contact.
And the battle is on in TCA. You see Robbie Foley in that TechSportRacing.com Mazda RX-8 right behind that Scion FRS of Tony Rivera. Really putting that bumper to him. They haven't made any contact yet, but they've been nose to tail here for the last couple of laps.
Yeah, it's very close, isn't it? They're really working it over. Great battles in each of the classes, with the exception right now of TCB, at least for the lead, where Johann Schwartz continues to have that one covered by a bit of a margin, but the battle behind him is fierce.
Yeah, it sure is. And here's a battle in our TC category with Paul Street in that brand new Honda Accord. We talk about being able to bring cars over in this touring car category. That's a V6 version of the Honda Accord. Coming over now, right behind him, Dina Weisberg in that Redcom Mazda MX-5, the Cup car there for TC. And she's getting to terms with these Pirelli P0 tires. Her husband running in that Porsche Boxster up a little ahead in the second of those Redcom team car from Berg Racing.
Yeah, that Berg Racing team has had a lot of success in some other series, and it's a treat to have them back in World Challenge. They ran here, but it was quite a while ago. So we just saw a shot of Johann Schwartz disappearing out of the screen. That's the margin he's been able to build up here. And I'll tell you what, he is just a savvy race car driver, isn't he?
Yeah, he sure is. And here's a good look at Wei Lee and Jason Fichter. And you just got a little small shot right behind him of James Wilson in that black armor helmets, Mazda Speed, Mazda 2 there. And James Wilson actually drove that car here to the track, local from Kyle, Texas. Does a lot of club racing stuff here. Drove that car from Kyle, Texas to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca for the runoffs in that car. So it's got, I think, more driving miles on the street than it does race miles, which is kind of an uncommon thing amongst race cars.
I did an interview with him actually at the runoffs, and we talked about that, and he made the comment. He said, it was a little crowded and everything. He said, but who else in this entire place could tell me that the mileage, and he gave a mileage figure. He said that they got that average mileage figure with their tow rig. Pretty amazing. A lot of smoke here out of the, big
Samantha
step up
Tan
there.
and
That's
that
Samantha
GPI
Tan.
Racing Kinetic Motorsports Kia Forte Coupe.
Yep.
Some major damage to the front of that car, and I think that actually might have some residual fluid down there. We're getting reports that there is fluid down on the track.
Yeah, and of course you get that up front, it starts to get on those rear wheels, and that car is suddenly starting to slide around an awful lot here, so you have to be careful with that. You know, talking about some of the Mazda competitors as well, here this weekend, the Austin Humane Society has a big presence, and the Mazda racers for a long time have been very connected with the Humane Society of America and a lot of those programs, and they've got a real presence here as well, so some pretty neat stuff unfolding here as we go back up. And now, this is when it gets interesting. Our overall touring car leaders start getting into some of the traffic. We saw Cody get through pretty clean, and there was his teammate Corey Friedman, and he got hung up just a little bit, but Adam Poland is able to get through and get by Aquilani, and we've got the Kia again of Samantha Tan finally has pulled off in a waving yellow.
Yeah, it looks like that is that coming up the backstretch there up the hill, I believe, on that long straightaway there.
Yeah, just at the exit essentially of 11, a few hundred yards. Yep, we're just getting a report there.
Yeah, she should be pretty clear of the traffic. We might be able to leave it here, but boy, we had a big scrap going in our TC now.
Boy, Corey Friedman got that white Porsche just a little bit crossed. It looked like Poland might just be able to get a run on him. Friedman, and there we go. I was wondering if Aquilani would get the momentum when both Friedman and Poland had to check up just a little bit, and he didn't get close enough. Now, this is a caution zone. You've got to be real careful when you're working traffic, because you may be working lap traffic, but the rule is no passing once you get to that yellow flag, and everybody sees that. Boy, did they execute that perfectly.
They sure did.
Very
the guy that
observant.
The guy that hurt that the worst was Ernie Francis Jr. He had to back up behind that Mini Cooper there, slow down a little bit, and that allowed, because they were nose to tail.
Yep.
You do back up a little bit, but you're not trying to make a pass down here. 3 wide down into turn number 12.
Boy, some fascinating stuff we're watching unfolding here. Gotta love it. And Friedman able to get through. And, boy, he's just being absolutely hounded by Poland. Poland gives him just a little bit of a tap as Friedman dipped the brake. I think it surprised him just a little bit, Jeff.
Yeah, it sure did. I think he was kind of expecting that. You don't really look in your mirror on that kind of a pass. But Corey Friedman looks like he's holding up Adam Poland just a little bit, but that came in power, able to go down the straightaways a little bit, just pull over the handling and small, nimble Mazda MX-5.
Yeah, so it's Ellsworth, Francis, the Porsche, then the Mazda, then Friedman in the Porsche, the team Porsche, then Poland. So the question is suddenly, where's Corey Fergus? He has slipped back to 9th, and I wonder if he maybe didn't get caught out in the in traffic or something of the sort.
Yeah, we'll have to get a view of that and see what happened there if we can get a replay. There's somebody in the pit, so is that Ernie
Poland?
Francis Jr.?
No,
it looks like
it was
the
Francis.
Breathless Performance Mazda MX-5 down pit lane.
Unbelievable former champion and somebody that we certainly, and based on what we saw in qualifying, Jeff, was going to be a player in this series.
And he's running 3rd in the class, so unfortunately trying to get word from pit lane on exactly what's going on with Ernie Francis Jr., but he'll start dropping through that order as he rolls down pit lane. And he drives through. This might actually be a penalty. I'm not really sure what for, but
exceeded the track limits a couple of times. They've been very, very stern on the warnings, and they said, first time it's a warning. Second time, it's a drive-through. And maybe that's what happened.
Well, that's going to put Corey Friedman up to 3rd, Corey Ferguson to 4th. Oh, sorry, I apologize, looking at the wrong timing there. So that's going to put Corey Friedman up to 2nd, Adam Poland to 3rd.
That move. Boy, Poland working the over-under, and then Aquilani getting a little crossed up behind him, but Poland relentless right now. Look at Friedman, back of that car, just hanging out. Big time. Poland again thinking maybe I can get through. Not quite. He had to check up as well, and now they come up into turn 11 once again.
Boy, Cody Ellsworth has checked out now as leading in the overall and the TC category, but a great battle for 3rd, and don't count out Andrew Aquilante.
No.
These guys start racing side by side. That Mustang will be right up there for that fray.
All right, we just got a report that they're going to leave Samantha Tan's car, and they'll cover it, I think, with a yellow for a couple more laps. Then they'll probably open it up, let it go green. It's way off to the side, and that Circuit of the Americas response vehicle going to exit stage left quickly here, I think.
Absolutely. All the drivers have been aware of it. They've seen it a couple times. They know where it's at. She's pulled off in a very safe place. Not bad for a 17-year-old Samantha Tan. Good heads-up driving on her part to get that car in a nice, safe area right there by the course workers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done for sure. As we're going to move back a little bit, there goes Tony Rivera, who I think has continued to hang on to that lead in TCA, doing a very nice job, Jeff.
Yeah, he sure is, and it looks like Robbie Foley has gotten around Tony Rivera now for the lead in TCA. So not what I know Tony Rivera wanted. He'll have to see if he can recover and get that back. But there's a good shot down this straightaway. You see the cars and the different speeds with these cars, but Tony Rivera tucking in behind Robbie Foley, trying to get that draft as they're coming down into lap traffic.
Yeah, it's starting to get real busy, as you said here, and they're coming up, and there you can see 3 different classes of cars almost that they're coming up on here, and Foley, yeah, beautiful job by Foley to make that pass. Now he's got to be very careful about how he's going to pick through traffic, and you've got cars running different lines here, and so you make a plan, and then suddenly there's a car there, and it can just absolutely park you.
Yeah, it sure does. You really got to look 2-3 corners ahead as far as you can see and plan out your route. Try to predict what the car in front of you is going to do or where he's going to be. A lot of respect for these drivers. Brian Till, our new driver steward, said, treat each other with respect. That's all I ask, and we won't have any problems. Don't make me make a decision.
Yeah, exactly. Don't make me be that guy. Basically is what it is. And the other part of it is be consistent, isn't it? Drive the line and let me figure out a way to get by you if I'm faster. Don't try and help me, because oftentimes the exact opposite occurs. And here's an opportunity. Tony Rivera thought he might be able to square up, turn 20 a little bit, and get a better run, and I think Foley was all over that one.
Yeah, he sure was. He just came off the corner, and he said, I'll just tuck right to the inside here. I'm not making a move. I'm not blocking. I'm allowed to go down to the inside, down the straightaway, and he did just that. Didn't pull back around to the right, which is per the rules. You're allowed to do that.
Boy, and I thought he turned in kind of early for one, and I thought we might see Rivera try and diamond that turn a little bit and come underneath. He had a better head of steam going, but ended up right where Foley was and had to back off. And now guess what? They have to do this all again with another group of cars.
Well, it's so hard to do right there in turn 1, too. You come up at a hill. The apex is actually flat. The exit is actually downhill. So you lose a lot of weight on the car there. It's really hard to get the power down and exit out of turn number 1.
Coming up behind Wei Lu in that TCB battle, currently 6th in TCB, the number 59. Again, the Racing.ca laptop screen, Nixon Pro Sports Mini, and they work by Wei Lu now, and coming up on the back of the number 7 of Jason Fichter, and you've just got to pick your spots and just try and be really as smooth as you can, don't you?
Yeah, you sure do, and you get a good shot of that MX-5 there of Randy Hale, the Hale propeller Mazda MX-5, and he's coming back to Pirreli World Challenge Series, was ever at our New Jersey Motorsports Park round last year making the debut, had a pretty good run there in the touring car class, returns again, great to have Hale Motorsports back.
Absolutely. Great to see him here. And a good run here by James Wilson, who's fought his way now, as you said, in that Black Armor Helmets Mazda 2. Jeff, the number 55 there, up into 4th in Touring Car B and knocking on the door potentially of a podium.
Yeah, he sure is. It's going to have to just maybe buckle down, put your head down, and try to run him down, but hoping for that elusive podium in here in Pirreli World Challenge.
Absolutely, boys. This is great racing. There is the number 2 of Van Swenson, currently sitting in the 3rd spot in the Hack Racing entry. And great group, that team, aren't they? They're just a blast, and love to see how they're doing. And it turns out that they're having fun doing really well now, up into 2nd. Make that 3rd now in the Touring Car B class behind Schwartz and a resurgent Glenn Nixon.
Yeah, Glenn Nixon really needs to try to get to the lap there. He's lapping about 3 to 4/10 of a second quicker than Johan Schwartz here in these stages, but Johan looks like he has just got it out there, and we got a big battle going on still in TC.
Boy, this is fierce and great stuff. This is the battle now for 2nd. That's Corey Friedman. We've been talking about the 03 Porsche. Right behind him, the black and yellow Mazda MX-5 from Edge Addicts and Texas Track Works of Poland. And glommed onto the back of them is the Calvert Dynamics Phoenix Performance Ford Mustang of Andrew Aquilani. And that's about as broad a spectrum of different equipment as you can find in a touring car division here. And are they fun? But up front, you just saw the shot of how far Cody Ellsworth and that team Mac Papers Hastings fiberglass Porsche came in from Autometrics, the 04. He's got that margin built up, and part of it is because of the intensity of this battling going on here right now behind him. Every time these guys get out of line, try and make a pass, and the other guy feints into slow, to block a little bit. Now you're slower into the corner, and in the helmet, I'm sure Cody Ellsworth looks in that mirror and that grin's getting ever wider.
Oh, just bigger and bigger all the time with that Automatrix Porsche Cayman. I believe that the cool thing on this that I see is that those 3 cars battling for second place in TC, not one mark on those cars. They haven't touched it all, and they've been nose to tail all race long.
Yeah, it's been fierce, absolutely fierce, but you're right, very smooth. The other thing that's playing into Cody's hands is we've watched when Ellsworth, when Friedman, when these other guys have been racing sideways a lot, all over, bouncing off the curbs. Up front, Cody Ellsworth, that car, he's just driving it super smooth, which means later in the race, his tires are going to be in much better shape. That's fun stuff.
Here's a battle between Andre Kiesel and PJ Gronke. PJ back into a Mini Cooper. This is a car that Team Octane from Canada drove last year in the Canadian Touring Car race. And PJ back into a Mini Cooper. The car he started with was with Shea Racing the last couple of years in a Honda Fit. So he's glad to be back in a Mini Cooper. And Andre Kiesel and himself fighting for that 8th position.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? And it's so nice to have PJ. He's such a good lad, a great young man, and it's fun to have him back here. And he insists on somehow I am going to be racing in World Challenge. Makes it happen every year. Virax.ca, Tundra, and Mulligan Gold have been supporters of his for a long time, and just refuse for him to not make it to a race. It's fantastic. Oh, look at this! This is a fierce battle right here. Svictor, really hopping on the back and trying to pressure the pass in this mistake by Lou, but it's actually Victor that runs way wide back there, and that's something that those officials are going to be eyeballing pretty closely.
Yeah, I think he sort of self-hurt himself there, or penalized himself there. Has got that car a little bit loose and dropped 4 wheels off. As long as you're not improving yourself, I think dropping 4 wheels off is okay.
Right, and I think obviously the officials are going to be sensible in their application of the penalties. If you come in there and you get sideways, slide over the curbs, and lose 20 yards, well, yeah, as you said, that's pretty much self-fixing. Meanwhile, now these guys who are in their own fierce battle are starting to get some lap traffic or some faster traffic from some of the higher classes coming through. And here we go. Looks like Ernie Francis, whatever the problem was, is that Ernie back out on track again. And he's flying right now and has run up on the back of Corey Fergus in that a US LED car, Axis Roofing. That's another of the Porsches.
Yeah, and Corey Fergus sort of dropped out of that whole lead pack and dropped all the way back to 6th place. Ernie Francis Jr., what appears to be a drive-through penalty down pit lane, up to 7th place. That's Jason Cherry. We haven't talked much about that young man since the beginning of the race in that Nissan Altima Skull Candy American Autism Society. He's up to 5th now, so a good top 5 in his season there.
And following there, that is the number 67, Shea Holbrook, a multiple winner in Pirreli World Challenge competition, as she is trying to fight her way up here, running in the Touring Car A division. And she started at the very back of that field, has found her way up into 6th in that Hendricks Honda Lucas Oil Honda Civic Si. Good run for her.
Yeah, it is a great run for her. It's a last-minute program. She said she was going to do a limited schedule, did not plan on doing COTA, came in, and she's been switching herself over to doing a jet dragster racing this weekend. So I kind of making fun of her. I'm like, are you used to going down the straightaway now and having to turn this time? She goes, oh, we turn off the track for the jet dragster.
Yeah, you don't do it at speed.
But she's run touring car here. She ran TCB, TC, TCA, won the Long Beach round in TC, and it's getting heated up.
And we have apparently just been told we've got a new leader in TCA. We'll check and see. And I think Foley is still hanging on. I know that Rivera has been showing the nose to him a lot, but has not been able to sneak through. Nope, it's still Foley right there at number 23. He still leads it with Rivera right on his rear quarters here. That is that 17 of Randy Hale, and behind him is one of those HPA VWs.
Yeah, Randy Hale and Jeff Altenberg battling in the touring car classes. They're slot battling in the 12th and 13th position in touring car, but they're right in front of this lead battle in TCA with Rob Foley in that TechSportRacing.com Mazda RX-8. And boy, Tony Rivera looking down to the inside. He's trying everything he can to fill that Scion behind the mirrors of that RX-8.
Well, and you explore, don't you? You look, is there grip here in case I need it? You might try that. Run a little offline, check a different line coming up here. And he's right there. Does he have enough to try and do something with him? Looks big move down to the inside. And he realized, nah, he's going to come right across and we're going to clock each other, and backed off just a little bit. And right behind them, Nate Stacy.
Yeah, Nate Stacy got that Folds of Honor 3R racing, Nate Stacy racing. The Moose is loose, as we call him, in that Volvo C30. Got it back underway. Not sure what the problem was. He's all the way, unfortunately, back in the 16th place.
Yeah, tough day for a very quick driver in a very strong car here. So keep in mind, folks, when we're watching this battle here, that number 15 VW, that is in the touring car class. And the two cars right behind him are the leaders in Touring Car A. Foley in the RX-8, Rivera in that Scion. And now they've got that car of Altenberg out of the way. And I think Jeff realized, all right, this is the lead battle in a different class. Let him through. And he did exactly that. In the process, though, he did lose the spot. Well, I don't think Stacy's on the same lap, so I think Jeff's okay there. And Stacy now going to come up, and this is going to frustrate Tony Rivera because now he's got a car comes up and splits those two.
Yeah, he sure did. That really affected Rivera, pushed Rivera way to the outside, but he'll get a good draft down the straightaway, tuck in behind that Volvo C30, try to get a little bit of a run, maybe catch back up to Robbie Foley. Now Nate Stacy has to get around Robbie Foley. Will he return the favor? You see Altenberg with the touring car power versus TCA. The difference there is he drives right back around Tony Rivera.
Absolutely. By the way, we show now a new leader in TCB, Glenn Nixon, and you called it, Jeff. You said, no, that is not the case. It is still...
Yeah, just got our, right as we said that, our timing system just updated.
So it's still Schwartz again, but Nixon, as you said, lapping pretty quickly, although now Schwartz just turned his fastest personal lap at a 2:21.4, so a good run for Schwartz. Able to respond, it seems, doesn't he?
Yeah, a little bit there. It was Glenn Nixon. His last lap time was a 2:51.5, so a tenth of a second quicker than Nixon, pulling that gap over 2.2 seconds now in our TCB battle.
This is just fascinating racing here. Boy, look now. As soon as Rivera lost that toe just a little bit, and, you know, he's hoping that when Stacy goes by Foley, it's going to slow Foley up. Foley tucked in, got a great run, and suddenly that margin's starting to open up a little bit. And, you know, Rivera now really has to put his head down and do something about it. There's Schwartz, and Nixon is there, isn't he? Or thereabouts.
Yeah, he sure is. Like I said, that gap's only about 2 seconds, and that could happen very quick here at this track. And it looks a little closer than 2 seconds right now.
Sure
is that prostate cancer Chevy Sonic, the Zero Foundation, trying to raise awareness for prostate cancer, is Johann Schwartz. Got a good chance to meet him and his wife there, and they give us that really cool celestial chart of all the moons that the father-in-law made, so that was a pretty cool deal. And he's going to have his hands full here with Glenn Nixon, though.
And it's interesting, Johann has a very different approach if you watch him here to racing than most of the rest of the TCB field. You generally see those TCB cars way over the exit, curbing, using up everything. Johann said that slows us down too much, bounding over the curbs. He gives himself lots of room to the curb and says, I just focus on sort of threading the needle, and it really seems to work. I mean, pole leading late in this race as we're now into our final, 8.5 minutes. So if that really his approach seems to be a pretty successful one.
Yeah, it's a very, you got to be precise when you're a drifter, and that's what he's doing with the rally racing, racing back on there in the ice and drifting. So it's, you've seen the lines too. You saw Glenn Nixon come all the way over the gator strips on the exit, and he was right on that right line was Johann in that Chevy Sonic.
Meanwhile, there's a look at Andrew Aquilani, who sits fourth, and Jason Cherry has quietly worked his way up brilliantly, hasn't he, and finds himself now up into the top 5 overall and in touring car in that Skull Candy Nissan Altima and the Autism Society car, just doing a superb job.
Yeah, he sure is, and it's an acclamation for him in that car, as he was rear-wheel drive front engine last year in an MX-5 TCA car, going to the V6 front engine front-wheel drive Nissan Altima here now. So it's kind of a big transition, a big change for and damage there to Andrew Aquilante's left front of that Ford Mustang.
It's left front corner,
looks
and
like
that's a broken tie rod.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh man,
no damage whatsoever to any of the fenders there. Might have just banged a curb a little too hard and snapped a tie rod there.
That's one thing we haven't talked about is we've got this fierce battle going on. Again, the number 33 of Adam Poland doing everything he possibly can to try and take second away from that white Porsche Cayman just in front of him of Corey Friedman. Ellsworth still has that big lead, but we haven't talked about it. Some of the curbs here, there's the curbing that you see, but then behind it you'll see an orange ridge. That is a hard concrete, super raised curb, and you clock that the wrong way, it can break stuff, and I would guess that may be just what happened with Aquilani.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It looks like that might have happened down there in that turn 1, turn 2 complex. And that turn 1 inside curb's pretty big too, just getting around lap traffic, pinched it a little too tight and lost unfortunately his race.
Yeah, just saw the battle for ooh, boy, big loose on the brakes there. But there's the battle for second overall. That's Corey Friedman, the 03 in the Mac Papers and Hastings fiberglass car. Right behind him, Adam Poland, who, remember, folks, came up from 5th, has worked his way into 3rd in the Edge Addicts Texas Track Works Mazda RX-5. And look at this battle for touring car. That's Victor, and we've got Vesko Kozarov coming up into the mix as well. Boy, everywhere we look on this track, it is like rush hour.
Yeah, here's a battle in our TCA category against Kevin Anderson and Emily Tomanovich. This is the battle for 7th. And, of course, Emily Tomanovich coming into the series again. She ran the Emig Volkswagen Jetta GLIs last year from Energy Motorsports, and now she's with the Compass 360 team, who actually, the popularity of the TC category moves their cars from TC back to TCA. Not a downgrade, it's an upgrade, because the competition in TCA is so great, especially amongst these Mazda RX-8s, Honda Civic SIs, and the Scion FRS. You've seen how close these cars all are.
Oh, it's fantastic. And of course, with Compass 360, you see that really trick graphic package on the car. That's part of their ongoing Children's Tumor Foundation support that they just have, and some very special artistry on that car from an artist who's got some visual problems because of neurofibromyalgia, and amazing what he's able to create. And what a great way to remind everybody about some of these diseases and raise awareness and funding and the whole program. It is great. And then we go back to great racing here for second. Look at those cars working through the S's. It's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure was. And a couple of those guys are getting pretty close to being 4 wheels over that line. They got to really pay attention here, because the last thing you want to do in these closing minutes with a little less than 5 minutes remaining in this race is get a penalty or have that penalty adjusted a little bit later. Wow, Friedman goes way wide on the exit.
Yeah, I think he had an inch of those left side tires still technically on the racetrack. And so that would be his argument. But right now, I mean, Poland is just heaping on the pressure. Poland still has, I think, the quickest lap in the race. So he's just hounding the pressure. We're into our final 4 minutes. This one's flown by, Jeff.
Yeah, it sure has. The action's been nose to tail all race long amongst a variety of different cars in different classes. And we just don't have, time to talk about all the action that's going on here, and it zooms right by.
Well, you can see there, that long straight, that Porsche just drives away. But the minute they get back into the twisty stuff, and yeah, that Porsche, mid-engine, nice balance to it. But the Mazda MX-5 are renowned for their handling in the twisty bits, and he's almost makes it all up under braking, and then he's just there all the way through the twisty stuff, looking inside, looking outside, and that really does put Corey Friedman into a defensive mode a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does, and you get a good view of the Replay XD cameras on the roof of these cars, all watching the action from inside and out, and a new partner this year is Replay XD. All 116 entries here this weekend running that Prime X camera.
116 entries. World Challenge. Pirreli World Challenge. Oh, yeah. This is going to be a phenomenal season in every category we've got, and we're seeing just what these touring cars are capable of delivering. I'm waiting here for Poland. There he goes. He just got enough of a run job. Big lurid slides. That's going to hurt his momentum, and we know that Porsche's got a little bit more legs. See if he's able to do anything, but he just went for it down into turn 20. Now, can he hold it? This is going to be fascinating. Oh, so close.
Yeah, and Adam Poland would have got the win or second place right there at the line just by a splitter, really. Trying for the over-under. Can Adam Poland do it here down into turn number 2?
Trying to straighten that out, get on the hammer a little bit sooner than that slightly more powerful Porsche, not able to do anything with it. But you know what? He now knows if I get that move done into 20 the same way, I might be able to just eke it out by that splitter and get this pass done. And now, of course, the problem is that he gave it away to Corey Friedman about what he might be able to do. So that might mean Corey's now going to defend a little bit. But now they're coming up on traffic. And Corey definitely had to back out of it just a little bit. Poland thought about it. They're going to be able to sneak through. But, yeah, nice job opening that door up, letting them both slide through. You got to give them credit. And Poland again gets a run down to the inside, Jeff.
Yeah, coming down here into the braking zone at turn number 11 onto the straightaway. Adam Poland does not want to lose any time. You saw him get back out of it and tuck right back into Friedman.
You got to give some credit to Patrick Sagan there. He couldn't hit the disappear button any more than he did. He tried to steal it, but something.
Yeah, brake duct and a piece of plastic liner there.
Wonder if that's off of a Ford Mustang.
Wonder ripped it all the way off, that wheel coming off.
Maybe that was all part of it. But here you see the tail of the tape in terms of just straight line speed, and that Porsche drives away. But watch now on the braking. This is where Poland makes a lot of that right back up again, so deep on the binders. And now here we go, working into the very serpentine section of the track. The S's are quicker changes of direction. This part of the track, you've got decreasing radius into increasing, into decreasing. And then right here, you come out of this very, very tight corner here and into that triple apex right-hander model. Herman Tilke, the track designer, modeling it after the great turn 8 at the Istanbul Turkey circuit. And there it is, second apex. You got one more. There it is, third. Now, quick transition back over and try and set up for a very tricky turn 19. And here we go. Here we go. Coming up. Is Poland close enough? Here he comes. Cody Ellsworth. Boy, looking so strong this entire race from pole. And he comes up. Watch for it. White flag. 1 to go. And there's that, just what's been a mesmerizing scrap for second, Jeff.
Yeah, that battle for second overall and in TC category. Corey Friedman, that Hastings fiberglass Max Paper Porsche Cayman coming from Autometrics Racing, just putting an Autometrics 1-2 here with Cody Ellsworth leading. Adam Poland dropping way back now. You usually see him pick right back up in the braking zone of turn 1 and down here through the S's. Maybe he's going to try to see if he can make one last-ditch effort down through turn number 19 and 20. And he was way to the inside at turn number 4.
Big orange concrete, no worries. We're going to go right over. By the way, just to let you know, Robbie Foley continues to lead in Touring Car A by about 1.4 seconds over Rivera, and Johan Swartz has a 2-second margin over Glenn Nixon. So we're staying with this battle because this one, I have a feeling, is going to produce some fireworks. But look at much more aggressive over the inside curbs is Poland, using a lot more of the exit curbs is Friedman.
Yeah, they sure are. And there's a great shot at Tim Mincy's Honda Fit there from the Testicular Cancer Foundation, trying to raise awareness for that disease. I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, making that first thing. I'm sure he'll just maintain his line like he's supposed to, doing his first job in his first pro race. Good job for Tim Mincy Sr.
And his daughter Samantha's dream has come true. Dad is a pro racer. You got to love it. Here we go into the end now of that long back straight into turn 12. And the margin again, this is what we see. Friedman easing away a little bit from Poland. And Poland not closing it up quite as much on the brakes that time, Jeff.
No, I think he gave a little too much down to that turn 1, down to the turn 7 complex, and really let Friedman pull a little too much out over Poland. Poland's really going to have to battle if he wants to try to put it here second to third place in your touring car and overall.
All right, here we go through these just amazing changes of directions and everything slightly different. That's the, one's tightening, one's opening up. Just as amazing what they do. Here we go now into the final time through that triple apex, 16, 17, 18, and traffic in front. And let's see, that's a TCB battle for position, and here they come. By the way, Shea Holberg has worked her way up into 4th now in TCA. This is it. Traffic. Is that going to slow Friedman enough? Is Poland going to be able to do the over-under? No, I don't think so. And here we go. Friedman comes through. It's an Autometrics Porsche 1-2, but Adam Poland absolutely flying, just not able to do that last little bit.
I know, so close, but yet so far away for that second place. But what a great race our touring car competitors put on here in the first round of the Pirelli World Challenge TC category.
Absolutely. Poland will at least so far get the fast lap of the race, so it's good for him. And there is your winner, and what a great story for Cody Ellsworth. Again, 3 days before this event, didn't even know he was going to be racing, got the call and said, come on, then gets pole, then gets win, and we got another car struggling.
Oh, no, is that the 23? Is that Kevin Anderson, or is that Robbie Foley who was running for second place?
Yeah. That was Foley, of course, leading in the Tech Sport Racing Mazda RX-8. Can't get close enough to see. The cars are virtually identical, so can't really see. There it goes, Paul.
Oh, that is Foley.
It is. It's Foley. That
leading on the last lap.
So that was Holton going by what will eventually be second. Unbelievable. And Foley, he can't believe it, I'm sure.
Oh, he's trying to see if there's a fire or not. He wants to get in there and save that car, because remember, there's still 2 races left.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get out of that car and make sure that everything's okay, as the great safety crews here at Circuit of the Americas are already on scene.
There's our top 2 in TCB. Schwartz able to hang on. A great day for him with Nixon giving him strong chase for the entire event, Jeff. Just fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it's a great run here for TCB. Congratulations to Johan Swartz. Glenn Nixon, not quite there, but we'll see how it goes out in qualifying for round 2. Remember, fastest race lap sets race number 2.
Absolutely. Look forward to hearing from you from Victory Circle, my friend. Great call on the race, and look forward to hearing Jeff's reports from Victory Circle as we enjoy this moment here, and just making sure, yes, Tony Rivera is your winner in Touring Car A. Unbelievable development, and I think, I'm trying to confirm here, they're still showing Foley as second, so he may have come through, taken the flag then. He did take the checker, Foley did, but he was already apparently having an issue. Nope, now they show Holton did go by. So I think they're just coming through now. So Shea Holbrook might end up in third. She wasn't even sure she was going to be running here. Her team, Shea Racing, was fielding a couple of cars, and she decided last moment, yeah, I'm going to come and run. And she may have just podiumed. We'll keep an eye on that. But there's the guy who survived for second in what was really the best race-long battle with, again, Adam Poland was just phenomenal in his pursuit and tried it a couple of times, but just couldn't make it work. And I have a feeling those two guys are coming up, looking at each other, and just grinning through the helmet saying, that was fun. And that it was. So second and third overall and in touring car, making their way down into the pit lane here, and that means they'll be heading toward Jeff Lepper in Victory Circle. So thanks so much for joining us, everybody, and we will be back on the air here for our webcast at 1:40 local time here. So you do the math. We're talking right now, we're Central Time, so wherever you might be, adjust accordingly. Come back, because this afternoon is going to be, I mean, non-stop racing action here. We've got the Pirreli World Challenge GTS. We've got the GT Cup Trophy. We've got Touring Car, or we've got GTA, GT Cup, GT Racing, and then the second race for these guys. It's going to be amazing. Make sure you're back with us. Today's coverage of the Pirreli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. By Motul, official lubricants of the Pirreli World Challenge. And by the Kia Optima, not your average midsize sedan.
Now's the time, no delay. Gotta get going now, there's no more time to waste. More speed, less haste. 100 miles of running, never touch the brakes. See that counting, we can't let them wait. Never late, cause it's time. Gonna move quick, gotta move faster. Wanna speed up, gonna move faster. Time is time, it has no master.
Its effects on society really came about because, not because I was selfish and wanted one for myself, which I did. It's because I had a passion my whole life. I wanted to teach myself to build computers. I wanted to build these things for free. I just wanted to do it for the world. And, you know, when you want something, that's what you do the best.